And gosh, I'll tell you what, I mean, you're going to do the work one way or the other. If you don't do the work and you get nailed, then you end up doing what I did, which was you're doing the work in court to prove that these guys were liars and hiring the experts to go in there and dig out the information you should have dug out in the first place. So I took a shortcut and I learned my lesson that I can't do that. So we don't tend to do very many of those kinds of things, right? We're investing in one company right now, which required us to hire outside people to take a really close look at what this company's doing. And it wasn't engineering based. It was more just based on budgeting and things like that. But man, I'll tell you, when you get, it's so much easier to just know about burritos. Okay. I mean, that's just better.
Yeah.
Better.
But I mean, obviously leaders of companies can lie. And that's just an issue, people lie. That is an issue in life. Yeah. And there are a lot of stopgaps in place to try to prevent that from happening, but it doesn't mean it's always going to work.
Well, here's another Charlie quote. We have a passion for keeping things simple. And then a second quote, which is, we have 3 baskets for investing: yes, no, and too tough to understand. And I think part of hubris, sort of overestimating one's ability, is not recognizing when things are tough to understand, and just feeling like, wow, I finally found something, particularly in this market where nothing hardly is on sale. The only things that you can really look at are hard. I mean, that's really the truth of it. Anything simple has already been bid up to the moon. So
one thing I found really intriguing, again, over the course of reading Buffett's letters, is that he has made, and I'm now, where are we here on the invested practice? We're like 2005, roughly. And so that's a lot of them that I've read now. And he's made a lot of mistakes. Like, that's what strikes me reading one after another, is how many bad investments Warren Buffett has made.
Yeah.
It really kind of has blown me away, because you don't hear about these things.
I think you're on the most important thing about reading those letters. I hope you're cataloging those mistakes.
I am not, but if I'm sure somebody has. But maybe that's something you go back and do.
Mohnish Pabrai did, and he's kept the list that he got from it quite proprietary.
Okay. So what's intrigued me about the mistakes that I've observed, without making a list, is that they're such prosaic businesses. They're so easy to understand.
Yeah.
They're businesses like encyclopedias.
Shoe company.
A shoe company. A textile company.
Yeah.
They're businesses that make a heck of a lot of sense looking at 10 years of financial statements.
Yeah.
But they don't make sense looking ahead to the internet age.
Right.
And that's where he messed up. And he very easily says, or, that's the encyclopedia one, or newspapers, that's another one. Or like the textile company, textiles just becoming too expensive to produce in the US. And with each one, he not only admits the mistake, he sings the mistake to the rafters and says, I didn't see it coming. I shouldn't have ever bought this company. The fault is mine, not the managers. The managers have done an incredible job in an impossible industry that is dying.
So nice when he does that kind of thing.
He's right. He's right. So I don't have a takeaway yet, but it's a very strong pattern and a strong observation. I think one that really matters for investors now in 2021, when the pace of progress is faster and faster and faster and faster than it was for Buffett in 1981.
Well, here's a potential takeaway.
And how do we determine which businesses have done really well for 10 years but aren't going to do so well in the next 10, or might do well for another 3 and then fade away?
Well, that's the takeaway, is that Buffett has said many times that if it was just, reading history would make you a great investor, then librarians would all be rich. So the point is,
there's a quote.
If you're trying to drive the car, and you're driving your car by looking out the back window at the straight road that goes off forever like a ribbon, you will drive right off a cliff someday.
Yeah.
Because roads don't go on straight forever. And
or multiple times, like
or
Buffett.
multiple times off the cliff. And so the key to investing is to understand the business, which includes looking into the very foggy future, right? You have to look into that foggy future. And that's why we want simple businesses. My God, it's hard enough to look into the future for burritos when people will still most likely like burritos 10 years from now, right? It's very unlikely that suddenly burritos will become, passé or unhealthy or something. There's just very unlikely. And so
maybe, there's nuance to that, right?
Sure, there's always nuance, but the point is that it's going to be hard to suddenly have the business fail because it's a simple business and it's got a big moat. I'm thinking of Chipotle Mexican Grill, of course.
Of course, but you compare it to Taco Bell, which maybe 10 years ago looked amazing and people didn't necessarily see the incredible rise of fast casual competing with it. So there are changes in burritos, is what I'm saying.
But they're slow.
They're slow. Yes, true.
That's the key thing, is they don't just come out and blow you up like they might in a technology.
Yeah.
And what Buffett missed was a big sea change. For example, in textiles and in the shoe business, he was so immersed in sort of Ben Graham investing about buying super cheap stocks, that he loaded up on a couple of companies that were in process of a major sea change, a major moat break based on foreign competition. And he just didn't see that it would come as fast as it did. And these companies were ruined by that. And that's that process you have to do, you guys. But if you keep the business really simple, it's going to be really hard for foreigners to come in and compete with burritos. It really is. It's like, so, okay, we know that's probably not going to happen. And then what could really wreck this business is, they mismanage or they have E. coli. That can wreck it if they can't figure out how to fix it. So you get simple businesses. And if something's too hard, we just move on to something else, right? It's nothing simpler than that. And that's another Charlie quote, by the way. That is just a really good quote.
So maybe the checklist or takeaway is something like, how is this industry looking in the next 10 years, 20 years?
Yeah.
Is it on the upswing? Does it have 30 more years of incredible growth? Or is this industry something that's been slowing down, or I see a slowdown coming pretty quickly? Maybe that would have, I don't know. I'm trying to think about like the encyclopedias that he bought that kind of happened just before CD-ROMs and personal computers.
That would have been hard to see.
Well, and the thing is, he touts it in the letters the first few years. He's like, this is one of the best companies we've ever bought. Right. The earnings are incredible. And people were buying them like crazy. Everybody needed an encyclopedia, and you had to get a new one every year to get the newest information. It's a great business. Yep. And then the personal computer and CD-ROMs put it out of business basically within like a couple of years. Like, it was so fast. And he says we're transitioning to putting our encyclopedias onto CD-ROMs. But obviously, like, that didn't really work out that well because then the internet showed up.
And then they just were all free.
So I don't know. There's kind of a point of like, maybe you just throw your hands up at some point and go like, well, we got blown out of the water on one of them because that was a hard one to see coming. Whereas like the textile factory, he says, I should have seen that one coming along.
Yeah. That's just the nature of the world. And as you said, it's getting faster all the time. So have to stay on top of stuff and make it your life easier by having simple businesses that are very unlikely to change. That's the key thing. You guys, if you enjoyed this video and you feel it was valuable in teaching you more about how to invest, hit the like button and please share the video with your friends. And if you want more investing content, subscribe to my channel. And don't forget to click the button on the screen. We got a free gift for you. Thanks again for watching.